Welcome to Dose of Social, your recipe for social media success. I'm Lindsay Mauk,
I'm Kayla Pearlstein.
and this is Dose
Dose
of
of
Social.
Social.
Wow, I love that.
We have a very, very special guest today. Shannon Grayce is here joining us. Shannon, thank you so much for taking the time to be on Dose of Social.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
So Shannon and I have an interesting way of how we connected. I was on a competition show for entrepreneurs last year called The Blocks, and one of the judges on the show actually was using Shannon. And after the show, I was in search of a business coach, and one of my friends who had worked with said judge told me about Shannon. So I reached out to Shannon, we connected, we hit it off, and we've been working together. Has it been a year yet?
It'll be a year on my birthday.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's
We're going
exciting.
to turn 1 year old as I turn 31 years old.
Oh, and when is your birthday?
October 3rd.
Well, Shannon, we would love for you to tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself and your background of how you got to what you're doing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm Shannon Grayce. I am a business coach. And when I started my business, I didn't even know what business coaching was. My background is formally in luxury brand marketing and management. That's what I went to school for. It's what I did my internships in. And then directly after school, after doing some traveling, I got right into corporate sales training. So I was helping to build sales teams all over the country through coaching them in sales. So I was managing campaigns and coaching smaller sales teams on how to sell and how to market themselves. And ultimately, it just all boiled down to COVID rolling in. And the way I got started with my business was I just started posting on social media. I didn't necessarily intend to become a business coach. However, marketing consulting was something that I was really confident in. I could coach sales, I can coach marketing, I can refine a brand, like all of these things that I had professional experience in. I was taking a look at the social media um, sphere of 2020, and everyone was starting their thing. They had online yoga classes, or they're selling their knitted hats, or they're doing custom painting, and everybody just had time to pursue their passions and just start their thing, right? It's where a lot of business owners got their start, especially solopreneurs. And I had myself thinking, like, well, what's my thing, right? I mean, I have hobbies, but I wasn't really interested in monetizing my hobbies. And so when I was thinking about what's my thing, I can help all of these other people with their social media, with their businesses, with their sales, with their marketing, with their brands. And so I just ended up starting to post advice on Instagram, creating a Facebook, on social media, and actually starting to help these people in real time. And so then I got my first couple of clients out of that, and I was calling myself a marketing consultant. Now, the difference between consulting and coaching are, I think it can be a subtle difference, but it can also be a very big difference. The thing that really got me into coaching rather than just consulting is I wanted to see the projects all the way through and not just say, okay, ABC 1, 2, 3, here's some great advice. This is what you should do. Goodbye, good luck. I hope it works. But I wanted to hold hands with the business owner through the entire process, do the beta launches, figure out what's working, what's not, and then continue on to the next launch with them. And so that is how I've been able to really hone in with business owners just like Kayla, being able to double, triple revenues within a short amount of time, being able to, create global brands and, through this process of coaching rather than just kind of putting some stuff together and seeing what sticks.
I will also say too, from personal experience, so like I have a business advisor, but he doesn't have a background in marketing. I think maybe a little bit of sales, but it was so nice finding you and connecting with you because you do have a background in marketing and sales and you understand how this world works. And so it really has helped me personally understand things that I need to do better for my team and my clients.
Yeah, and I mean, organic social media is an entire world on its own. You know, it's not just about throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. It is about strategy. It is about, keeping people engaged over a long period of time can be a challenge. And then it takes an expert to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's great that you have a background in marketing and sales, and you can use that to help coach your clients in marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that I really took away from being in school and having internships and things in the luxury branding world is that it really is all about the story. It's about the feeling that you evoke from people when they come to your brand. And so that can be a lot of times for luxury brands through a brand story, a very historic story. But nowadays we have people telling their stories as entrepreneurs, as their own story as well. So you can really frame any brand, whether it's a personal brand or a luxury brand, big brand, small brand, anything. Having the story is really the bedrock of what is going to bring forth the best results and the best engagement.
And I would almost say that it's expected now from brands to have a story and have storytelling incorporated into their marketing, whether it's the founder story or it's the sourcing of how they get their products or how it all came together. It is an expectation now.
Yeah, and because that's how, your potential customers connect with you. They wanna feel that type of connection before they take action. They're not just I know we've all talked about this previously, but they're not just gonna purchase your product or your service because you say shop now, link in bio.
Period. Yes, they need to be nurtured. Like I'm sure if you have you guys talked about the know, like, and trust factor on here yet?
No, why don't we get into that?
Yeah. So when it comes to converting leads, when it comes to making sales, you need to have three things. They need to like you and they need to trust you. Because if they just know you and like you, they're going to follow you and they're going to scroll on your stuff and they might like your posts and they might comment, they might engage, but they're not going to purchase because they don't necessarily trust your product, trust your business. If they trust your product, trust your business, but they don't necessarily like you or know you, then there's a very likely chance that you have a higher chance of getting beat out by a competitor, right? Because trusting a brand is different than knowing, liking, and trusting a brand because there's so many brands out there that have 5-star reviews. There's so many brands out there that have, similar products to one another. But what's going to make you stand out is if somebody knows you, likes you, and trusts you. And that's what brings somebody from being a cold lead to being a hot lead.
Yeah, that's great information to share for those of you listening who have not heard about the know, like, and trust factor. Let's get into the leads conversation. You just mentioned cold lead, warm lead,
Hot
Yes.
lead.
hot lead.
Hot lead.
Hot take.
So I actually have a spreadsheet which I can actually provide for you guys in the show notes if you want.
That would be
Actually,
amazing.
yes, for all of your listeners, I have a spreadsheet. It's what I call the the lead funnel, the simple lead funnel. We use this word lead funnel, lead pipeline, whatever, and it's like big and scary and annoying. And like, there's all these sales tech bros telling you to buy my funnel, buy my pipeline. This is how we're going to fix all of your blah, 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 whatever. The simple thing is that a funnel, a pipeline is just a customer journey. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't have to have software behind it, especially if you are a small business that is making under $100,000 a year, under $250,000 a year, depending on like the price point that you have. A simple tracking system can sometimes be the difference between like actually doubling your revenue just because you're tracking your leads. So it's essentially a lead tracking spreadsheet, which tracks all of your cold leads, your warm leads, and your hot leads, and then the client activity. This is primarily for service-based businesses, but you can absolutely apply this to a product-based business too. But with cold leads, the way that you warm up a cold lead to being in the warm lead category is through cold lead activities, which are specifically getting them to know you and like you. Once they know you and like you, then they're considered a warm lead. So the way in which you do that is you post personal content, story content, mission-driven content. You're getting them to know you as a brand, as a person, however you present as a business. You're getting them to know you like you so that they actually are engaged in the brand and they're paying attention, right? So then once they're in the warm lead category, then what you want to pull out of them is interest in the actual subject that you are selling. So if this is a service-based business like social media marketing, for example, or if it's a product-based business, you want them to engage, you want them to ask questions, you want them to indicate interest. And the way in which you do this is you post engaging educational content. So whether this is educating them about your product, about your service, about your industry in general, about the need for your product, about the need for your service, you're looking for them to ask a question, get an inquiry, click a link, just get curious about the product itself. And that comes about through telling them some educational information about it. And what happens after that is they trust you. So once they know you and like you through the cold lead activities, and then they trust you through the warm lead activities, then they can be considered a hot lead ready to buy. Because once they've indicated their interest and they've actually clicked a button, asked a question, whatever, that is an indicator that they move into the hot lead category. And the hot lead category, the way that you move them from hot lead to paying client is call to actions, call to actions, call to actions. Show them the path forward. What is the next step? How do I sign up? How do I buy the product? But yeah, no, you can't just take a cold lead and then just be like, buy the product. Here's the link.
Yeah, especially with something like social media marketing, for example, because it is such I would say it's a lot of a personality fit too, in finding the right person and right agency to work with who fits your brand and understands your vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So making sure
Exactly.
that you find the right fit, and obviously for a product too, you wanna make sure that you're reaching your target audience and that your content is reaching the type of people that are most likely to buy your product and are in the market for your particular product, things like that.
Exactly.
Shannon, what would you say the number one mistake you see small business owners making in sales is?
Um, Trying to be somebody that they're not. I would say like shifting their brand messaging so that they can fit a particular sales strategy is a huge mistake. So for example, like um there's this gym that I used to work with. And their ideal client specifically is like non-binary individuals and women. So they have like this very like almost like woke ideal client that they're looking to like almost hold a safe space for in the gym. Now, this woman who runs the gym, she ended up hiring a very, very like sales tech bro business coach. And then all of her messaging started being like really, really masculine and like, you have to do this because like otherwise, like fear-based marketing. And it really just like made a huge tank in her business because the space that she was trying to create with her brand and then the way that she was communicating with her audience was dissonant. There was cognitive dissonance there.
Mhm.
Um, so that's just one example, but I would say that like when your sales process doesn't match your brand vibe, that is like a huge problem. So like what I like to say is like if you're a personal brand and you want to be personable in your brand, then you should be sending voice notes and getting on calls and creating this actual connection between your clients, your potential clients and your business. Now, if you're just like a get things done quickly, ABC 1 2 3, like you are just like solving problems left and right for people, and like that is your brand vibe, then it's fine to do like click to cart, low ticket, like literally just like throw it out there anytime. But you want to make people feel in the sales process the way that you want them to feel when they hold your product in their hand or when they experience your service for themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really important, and I would also add to it not being spammy or stalkerish too in your sales process.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I actually teach this theory in my signature program, which is called a Confident Coaches Blueprint. And so the theory is called Stoplight theory. And we talk about the different signs that you can pick up on when it comes to a sales process. When is somebody a green light, which means like keep selling, keep going, keep talking? When is somebody a yellow light? When you need to maybe take a step back and say, like, is this making sense? Are you with me? You know, I feel like you might have a question, leaning into them and asking them, like, hey, like, are you interested? And then when people are a red light and you need to just like recognize that energy, say, hey, I'm going to stop because I feel like this isn't hitting for you. Is that right? Or can I keep going? And like that is a really important distinction in sales, especially when it comes to sales calls or cold calls or anything like that. I always have like a rule of, you know, if they're a green light, there are signs there, and good body language, asking questions, leaning forward. Yellow light, they might be sitting back, they might have their arms crossed, they might be like thinking. And sometimes that's a positive sales sign, but that's why they're a yellow light. You're like, I don't know if they're like, I don't like what you're saying, or if they're like, I might be fucking with this right now. You know? Like, so you gotta
Mhm.
clarify sometimes, like, you with me? Like, does that make sense? You know? And then with the red light, when they're just like not feeling it, and you could feel that they're not feeling it, like stop talking. Just stop talking.
Yeah, I love the stoplight theory, that's great.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me once too that it's really important to try and either be with someone face to face or be on video in Zoom because it is important to read body language, and one thing I thought was very interesting is this person said, "Look at someone's lips, and if they change color, it means that they are uncertain or they're not sure about something that you said, or there might
Wait,
be
really?
hesitation." Yes.
Now
I've
I'm so
never heard
We
that.
should we
like,
should
what
fact
about
check
my
this for
lips?
Dose of Social, but yes, your lips change color.
Oh God.
Huh.
I just simply do not think that I have the type of I just can't be bothered paying attention to that. That's
I
just so much for me.
And it was funny because when I heard it, I was like, "I will be like this, really, like, let me see your lips."
Oh my God, that's so
I've
funny.
never heard that, and now
I've
I feel like
never
I need to
had
pay attention to everybody that I talk to.
but maybe that's why women that wear lipstick like hold such big secrets.
Yes.
Because like nobody can tell what we're
Okay, getting back to Shannon's expertise. So, from your experience, what would you say the most underrated marketing channel for small businesses is right now?
mm, underrated. It's a tough one because I honestly do believe that each type of small business has a place that they can do like really well. For example, like brick and mortar businesses underrated is TikTok.
Mm.
Period. Like you should be getting like influencers into your shop talking about your things. You should be posting about your things. Like get a little like trends and things going. Like TikToks for brick and mortar businesses are so good. However, it's not one size fits all, you know. I think that it's an underrated opinion that there isn't one answer to this question. Um I think that a lot of business coaches, like me, like to make big blanket statements about what's going to work, what is the next big thing, like how everything is supposed to work. And realistically, it does take a little bit more of a microscope. For me personally, the way that I like to business coach is I like to pull back the layers, really see what's going on underneath. The first thing that we do, and honestly, Kayla and I have done this like quarterly, is doing a business audit. We actually look at every department of the business and be like, hey, what's working? What's not working? How do we want it to work? And so I feel that way about social media too. Now, for like, I think that YouTube is an overarchingly underrated um, platform for creators. However, it is very different than Instagram and TikTok. It's very different. It's much more difficult to manage because it like has a lot more nuances to the back end of it, and it's been around a lot more. It's more like getting into Microsoft than it is like picking up an Apple computer, right? Like there's more nuances to the back of it than TikTok or Instagram. But and then lastly, for service-based businesses, I'll speak directly on that one. Since I spoke directly on brick and mortar, LinkedIn is underrated, super underrated. You can do a lot of really specific searches. You can connect with people that are, looking for your services, that are in need of what you have, but also things that you might need that they have. I think it is a really great platform. And in the entrepreneur space specifically, we don't really overutilize it. It's much more pushed towards corporate networking, but I think that it can really be useful for entrepreneur networking, especially if you work in service-based businesses where you're looking for busy professionals who are in need of your services, whether that is massage or life coaching or social media work, things like that.
I think it can also be great for leads too, and finding if there are potential companies, for example, like on the service-based side that you might wanna work with, reaching out to those people directly on LinkedIn is a great approach because you're getting right to, hopefully, the right person.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Shannon, getting into business growth and strategy, business owners wear a lot of different hats, as you know, as you both know. How do you help business owners find the balance between working in their business and working on their business?
Love this question.
Yes. Honestly, okay, this might be a little like unconventional for your podcast layout, but Kayla, how have I helped you work in your business and versus on your business?
Well,
I
you
would love
stay
to
on
just
top of
hear
me in Telegram
staying on top of messaging,
with
yes,
to-do tasks.
accountability.
I mean, you and I have worked together on different ways that we can we're also kind of in the process of this now, right? Of restructuring my business and where we can kind of fill those holes with my team so I can get certain things off of my plate to do more to work on the business than in the business. And I think slowly that's starting to happen for me, but I've essentially been rebuilding my business for the last year and a half, so it's kind of been a little crazier than
Which you have done a freaking phenomenal job.
Yes, you
you.
have.
Oh my God.
Everyone,
Thank you.
Kayla is awesome.
Major,
you.
major kudos for that. Yeah, I think that the main thing is mindset, right? When you're looking at like a CEO mindset versus an employee mindset, you can work for yourself and still be an employee of your business, right? Versus you are running the business, you're running the show, and you are delegating, optimizing, outsourcing, automating, right? You're looking to make your business work without you, or you're looking to improve the flows of the way that your business is working. That's what I would say working on your business looks more like, rather than being kind of like caught up in the day to day. Now, any like good CEO, any good business owner is going to work both on and in the business. I think of like undercover CEO when they go and they work with the fryolator from McDonald's or whatever, and they're like working in the business to make sure that they know what's going on and they're just not like up in their high tower. Um, but I do think that it's important to employ the 80-20 rule there. It's like, yes, continue to work in your business 20% of the time, but make sure you're spending 80% working on it. Because ultimately that's going to be what moves the needle forward anyways.
I think another thing you and I have worked on too, which like I thought I was pretty good with systems and processes, but you and I will talk about things and you're like, "Do you have a system for this?" And I'll be like, no, I actually don't think I do. And so
Okay,
then we
let's do an
either
SOP
build it
together.
or
Let's
rebuild
record a
it. Yeah.
video so that people can train themselves.
Yeah,
And you're not
exactly.
having to repeat yourself 2,800 times.
Yes, yes.
Yep. No, that's great advice. Yeah. And for systems and processes, I would also say like Loom video is really great too for
Yes, and great
recording
for
things
automating.
and
Definitely creating SOPs and having and ChatGPT makes it so easy nowadays because you can just type out a brain dump and then it'll make your SOP for you. Or you can upload a video of you explaining it and then it'll write out the SOP. But essentially, it's important for anybody in your business to be able to be hired. And the first day on the job, they'll know how to do what it is that you do because there's an SOP, standard operating procedure, for, let's say, onboarding, for example. We're onboarding a new client. We need to get the proposal by this time. We need to make sure it looks like this. We need to make sure that we get XYZ dates in place, that we have our first call scheduled, that we have, all these things that need to happen with every single person. That's something that could be outsourced. That's something that can be automated. That's not something that Kayla, as the CEO, needs to be doing ABC123 in front of her computer every single day.
And I'm pretty sure we've changed my onboarding process like 3 times since working together. But they just keep improving, so that's good.
yeah, it's a work in progress.
Have you ever given a client advice that completely changed the way they approached their business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've given clients advice that completely changed their business. For example, this coach that Kayla was talking about, the way that we got connected, or the judge on the reality TV show for business entrepreneurship. So when she and I started working together, she is currently my longest standing client still. Just had a call with her yesterday. Shout out. She came to me to create fitness programs. And then she also mentioned oh, on the side, I have this I kind of have this idea that I might want to make bodysuits for military women. And I was like, ooh, tell me about that. We're on our third call of our contract type thing. We're creating her fitness, because she was also an NFL cheerleader and she wanted to create fitness programs for college cheerleaders. And I was like, cool, blah, blah, blah. And so we're putting all that together and whatever. And then we're just chit-chatting, talking about business. And she's like, yeah, I also kind of have this idea for a bodysuit for military women. And I was like, tell me more. And she just starts talking about it. And it's I've got chills. And I do get chills when I know ooh, that's the idea. I know exactly what we're going to do. I got chills. I was like, dude, we got to abandon this whole cheerleading thing. I hear that you think that this is the easiest way to make money, but I hear the passion when it comes to this bodysuit situation, and that is $1 million idea. And lo and behold, now it's $1 million business. She's gotten deals on Shark Tank. She's been a judge on the Blocks reality TV show. She's currently at fashion school in Milan. She has completely just blown this shout out Torch Warrior Wear, blown this business out of the water. And I think that that one day of just being no, we got to do this. Oh, I'm literally wearing her right now.
I was going to ask, it kind of looked like one of hers.
Yay.
Hi,
Haley.
Yeah. So yes, I mean, I'm honest as hell. I promise you that there's been at least 14 times during Kayla and I working together that I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Or no, we should do that. I know you're feeling like we shouldn't, but let's explore it more because that sounds like a really, really good idea. You know, and it's not always just yes, being a yes man and be like, yes, you're thinking amazing. You're always right. Blah, blah, blah. Let me just gas you up all the time. Sometimes it's a little tough love and sometimes it goes in a different direction than you expect. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think the first question you asked me when we started working together was how do you like your feedback? Do you like it with a lot of sugar, a little bit of sugar, or just straight up? And I was like, straight up is typically preferred.
Kayla's like, how I like my whiskey. Thank you.
No.
Very good, very good. So, Shannon, what is one homework assignment that you would give our listeners to help improve their marketing or sales this week?
Well, now that I'm going to give you guys the link to this spreadsheet, I would say gain an awareness of your cold audience, your warm audience, and your hot audience. And even if you don't like sift through every single one of your followers, like just gain kind of an understanding of the people that look at your story. That's a really simple place to start. Is just saying, like, okay, out of the 100, 400, 500, whatever people that watch my story, or if it's more, like just take the first 100 as a sample, whatever. How many people here are just watching and I'm not aware of them, they're not aware of me, they like are just kind of like looking, but they don't follow me, versus people that are following you and like just like watching, versus people that are asking questions and truly engaged in your work. And how can you maybe move them from that cold category to the warm category, or the warm category to the hot category, by either giving know and like information, personal, just as a recap, like mission driven, personal, story based information, or developing the trust factor as well, moving them to the hot category by giving education and value based content. So just kind of gaining an awareness of the pool of people that you have on your socials and where they fall into those categories. And maybe do you need to beef up the know, the like, or the trust factor?
That's
That
a
was a great
great
homework
homework.
assignment.
That's a great homework assignment. Thank you,
Yeah.
Shannon.
So, Shannon, if our listeners are looking to connect with you or reach out to you about coaching, where can they go?
Yes. So my social media is at Shannon Grayce. I also have a business social media, which is at Global Path Coaching. You can also find us online at globalpathcoaching.com. Or you can email me at Grace, GRAYCE.Shannon, SHANNON, at gmail.com. That's my work email. I always get through my inbox every single day. So that's also a really reliable way of reaching me too.
Yeah, and we'll make sure to include all of that in the show notes as well.
Well, Shannon, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing so much great, helpful information with our audience. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a great time. I'm so glad that we did it.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Dose of Social. We're out. Peace.
Bye.